India's rural market has been growing at a rapid pace with nearly 70% of the country's population residing in villages of India. While many companies are focused on developing the Indian rural market and consumer, Go Rural has been their mantra for success. Recognizing the importance of rural marketing in India, the 6th edition of Rural Marketing Association of India Flame Awards was held recently. The opening address was delivered by the president of RMAI, Sanjay Kaul.
Friends, Flame Awards today is not only the exclusive rural awards, it's also most contested rural awards. And this award has also moved, why we say only 6th edition, because this awards has actually now moved to annual format from a biannual format. We are overwhelmed with the kind of response we receive year on year. Every year we see increase in the participation, not in terms of number of entries, but also number of contesting companies and agencies as well. This year we received around 200 plus entries from 60 entrants, clearly reflecting the increased interest of corporate in next growth destination called Rural India. I must share with you, friends, to further strengthen the process and credibility of these awards, this year we got Ernst & Young on board as official tabulators of Flame Awards 2014. On behalf of RMAI, I must compliment the NY team for doing a great job and helping us in strengthening and improving the process of judging and overall process. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be meeting more often in many more meaningful occasions. Thank you so much.
This was followed by a panel discussion on rethinking rural marketing in India.
You being a veteran, you've seen all the good days, bad days. How do you see and where do you see it going now?
Yeah, I think it's been a long, arduous, patient, difficult journey from the time that we started out about 15, 20 years back. And today the rural landscape has changed completely. Rural has now become bigger than urban for all categories, almost all categories. Rural is growing faster than urban in terms of percentages, the base now being about the same. The monthly per capita expenditure is now about 17% for rural and only 12% for urban. So again, rural people are spending more. The income levels, 15 years back, the per capita rural income was about 50%, was about half of urban income. Now it's come up to 80% because rural incomes have been rising much faster than urban incomes. Right? So all this is now leading to aspirations. And therefore, what is the rural consumer doing? He is consuming more brands. He is upgrading, he or she.
Initially in rural, buying a motorcycle was like something like an aspirational thing. One moved out from the cycle or public conveyance to getting a bike. And how is it faring it today when you have your cars coming into rural, and especially where is it? Is it opening up in the lower segment or it is moving up? How do you see the market in times to come?
Yeah, rural has been quite an interesting journey for Maruti Suzuki. To give a perspective, 1/3 of Maruti's sale is rural overall. But yes, 45% of Altos we produce and 50% of Omnis we produce sell in the rural market. But yes, models like WagonR, Desire, Eco are showing good growth. So the aspirations of people, as you said, are increasing, and bigger models are showing better growth than smaller models. As far as village reach is concerned, our more than 7% of Maruti sale is in villages less than 200 households. So even the smallest villages, we have been able to reach and create aspirations as far as that is concerned.
I mean, that aspirational level, as far as we've been talking about, but what brings me to George is that how, whenever we say rural, we also think Dabur. How have you made this shift get into the markets of rural? How people have taken that shift?
I think it's important to set the context for what we have done. The rural India, both in terms of marketplace and in terms of a consuming population, has really undergone a dramatic transformation. And you really see a lot of non-agricultural income really fueling this prosperity. And that is improving lifestyles for people, which is actually increasing aspirations. Raj spoke about Dabar, and when you think of Dabar, you think of rural, the heartland of India. Very true. Our products are actually rooted in Indian traditions. But it might be interesting to note for many of you that in many lifestyle categories, like fruit juices, Real has been the market leader by far over almost decades. Air fresheners, O'Donnell or Dabur Honey, or you take very urban product like skin bleaches, we have been far leaders. In fact, what we keep finding when we go to these markets, upper end consumers, the R1, R2 of rural, are really traveling to the neighboring cities and towns to consume these products. If you're able to make it available, it can dramatically improve the consumption levels. And that's what we've been able to do.
But taking a clue from you, I'd like to come to Puneet. How is it going? I mean, you are doing work of 10 people or 15 people who would have done. So there's always a fear in the market. How is the job opportunity increasing for poor and marginal? Because that's what represents this country.
The first assumption and the first reality is that rural is beyond agriculture. So let's keep that in mind. And also, we are in a we are looking at an aspect of business or rural life where earning potential actually that is what we are into. Other than other companies where the spending potential or the spend power is the main criteria. If you do a status check, it is estimated that in 2015 there is a deficit of skill of almost 15 million people. So the point I'm trying to bring here is that there's already a deficit of workmen because of the kind of construction which is happening today, which is sizable, and we are not getting, possibly we're not getting people where the work is happening. This situation is only going to, that gap possibly is only going to grow if we don't take the right actions today. That's a separate thing.
Which brings me to Salil from Pidilite. For Ogilvy and Pidilite is like a family. So welcome, Salil. Like any FMCG, you also have lots of namesakes and spurious. How do you manage that in such deep interiors of rural India?
Right. So I think it's I think one of the core competencies that Pidilite has had to develop right from the start. Pidilite started sometime in 1959, and at that time the kind of adhesives which were used were made out of animal fat, and animal fat was boiled overnight. It used to smell in the entire neighborhood, so everybody knew that furniture was getting made around here. And in that category, then Pidilite came and introduced the brand called Fevicol, which was much more easier to use, but it was very difficult to convert people. And the only way to do that was to go from carpenter to carpenter and give them samples and then build that relationship with them. And that's the kind of an investment we are doing. This is, going ahead and promoting these practices and ensuring that they do better in their craft.
If you noticed, somewhere in all the thoughts, a concept of skill development is coming in between for everything. We need to develop our own people, be it craftsmen, be it sales, be it mechanics, be it people who take care of stuff. Thank you, sir. Thank you again. Thank you.
Following the panel discussion, Flame Awards 2014 were given away in recognition of excellence in marketing, promotion, and initiatives in rural markets of India.
Our first award tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Brand Association with the Traditional Congregation Platform of the Decade.
Sona for Impact Communications.
Brand campaign showcasing media innovation of the decade. The gold goes to PhD India.
Our next award is the long-term campaign of the decade.
The winner of the gold is ITC ABD team.
Our next category is Social Development Campaign of the Decade.
The gold in the social development campaign category goes to Finnish Society.
Ladies and gentlemen, our first winner, our first leader tonight, please put your hands together for the Vice President Marketing, Everready Industries India Limited, Mr. Anil Bajaj. Please welcome on stage, ladies and gentlemen, our next leader tonight, CEO Usha International Limited, Mr. Dinesh Chabra. Our next leader for this evening, please put your hands together. Welcome on stage, Executive Director and Chief Marketing Officer, Dabur India Limited, Mr. Krishan Kumar Chutani. Our next leader, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage CEO Sahaj E-Village Limited, Mr. Sanjay Panigrahi. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next leader on stage, General Manager and Head of Marketing, Hero MotoCorp, Mr. Sanjeev Shukla. And ladies and gentlemen, last but certainly not the least, it's time for us to invite our last leader on stage, heading the rural business for GSK Consumer Healthcare, Mr. Vijay Sharma. Agriculture Dairy Initiative of the Year.
And the gold award goes to ICAR, Indian Agricultural Research Institute.
Our next award category, Channel Marketing Retailer Incentive of the Year.
And the gold award to Event Crafter.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for us to introduce our next award category, which is Long-Term Campaign of the Year.
And the gold goes to Impact Communications.
Again,
You have to come
ladies
back
and
now.
gentlemen! Our next award category, New On-Ground Event or Property of the Year.
The gold for this award goes to visual communications.
Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the greatest form of marketing known to all of us, outdoor marketing.
And the gold goes to HLL Life Care Limited.
Brings us to our next awards, Radio Campaign of the Year, Television Campaign of the Year, and Youth Campaign of the Year.
Radio Campaign of the Year gold, again to you.
Our next award, the Television Campaign of the Year.
The gold goes to Mahindra and Mahindra Financial Services.
Youth Campaign of the Year. And the gold,
Reliance Broadcast Network Limited for gold.
and well, that brings us to our next few awards. Use of technology, channel development, engagement, measurement and monitoring, and new media.
And the gold goes to Hansa Events and Activation.
Ladies and gentlemen, use of technology, measurement and monitoring.
Gold for Dabur India Limited.
Our next award, use of technology, new media.
Yeah, there's only one award, which is the gold, use of technology.
And the gold goes
PhD
to
India.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, our next award, brand association with a traditional congregation platform.
And the gold goes to Mart.
And that's what brings us to our next set of awards. Direct Marketing Campaign of the Year.
Gold goes to Group M Dialogue Factory.
After this, we move into our next category of awards, which is Integrated Campaign of the Year.
Gold goes to J. Walter Thompson.
Let's have a look at last mile distribution, channel development.
And the gold goes to Usha International.
On-ground promotion for the year, brand awareness.
And the gold goes to Vritti Solutions Limited.
Our next award is On-Ground Sales Promotion of the Year.
And the gold goes to Ultratech Cement.
Now we reach the Rural Research and Publications.
And the gold in rural research and publication, Accenture Services Private Limited.
This is the Small Budget Campaign of the Year.
The gold goes to PS Live Rural.
And ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our last award of this night, the Social Development Campaign of the Year.
Social Development Campaign of the Year, gold for the evening, HLL Life Care.
I would like to invite on stage the Executive Director, Dabur India Limited, and Secretary of RMAI to kindly deliver the vote of thanks. Please welcome Mr. George Angelo.
Good evening. Distinguished members of the jury, our esteemed panelists for the evening, our honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. We had a fabulous evening today, commencing with the panel discussion, culminating with the Flame Awards. And I thank the panelists for keeping the audience fully engaged with their inspiring thoughts. Thank you, gentlemen. At RMAI, we had taken up this initiative to recognize and encourage the efforts by organizations in building innovative strategies and execution models for the rural markets of this country. On behalf of the RMAI and the Executive Committee, I would like to express our thanks to distinguished members of the jury, led by Mr. Shiv Kumar, helping us with the extremely difficult task of ranking the well-deserving entries.